Hi everybody. Today we are going to discuss about a very crucial topic, that is approval of our Victofire product range. Okay. First of all, people will ask you for UL and EN54 approval. UL is a private body of America, which was originally a not-for-profit trust, which had made product standards and system standards, and it was also a lab. So if you made one product like this, you can give it to them. So what product to make, that also in the UL standard it will be written. Okay, that how your smoke detector should be or whatever should be. And then you have to make the product as per that and give it to them. They will test the product. They will come and see your factory, and then they will say, your product is UL approved. So they will give you a mark which you can put on your products. That is what is called UL approval. Originally that was a not-for-profit body in America. Later on they made it for-profit body. So all the companies like Honeywell, Siemens and all these people have direct or indirect shareholdings in that particular company. So what to create barrier for further competitors, they say if you make a fire alarm panel, you get it UL approved, they'll put a huge fees of 3 crores of rupees or something. Okay, so we have to take our product to America, they will approve it there in their lab, we have to pay them fees, we have to stay there, we have to buy the flight ticket, or whatever it is. There people will come and visit our factory. All this drama will happen and they create a huge fees. Okay, for no reason. Okay, same testing, if it can be done in 2 lakhs here, they will charge 3 crores of rupees there. And they will go on with that money, they will go on to all the places and tell all the consultants to write UL approved, UL approved, UL approved, UL approved. This is what is happening, and this is how America and Europe. Same story for EN54. EN54 is European Union standard. This is American. So this is how people are controlling. For example, if Microsoft wants to put up an office in India, Microsoft chief technical officer will say, whichever smoke detector you put here has to be UL approved. So means what? You are forced to buy American product. And if an Indian company wants to get UL approval, it has to shell out a huge money. So startup companies, people with real knowledge, innovation or technology, they can't do anything. You need money. So this is how rich people control the business. Okay. For not having this domination, India has also got a agency like UL, it is called BIS. Indians, we are very honest people. So this company is not a trust or a private body. It is a government of India organization. It is in Manak Bhavan, Delhi. Okay. BIS, it has also got office in Bangalore and many other prominent cities. So BIS is the Bureau of Indian Standards. First of all, what are standards? Okay. Standards means, suppose you have a product. Okay. Suppose this is a piece of paper. Okay. The standard will say this paper has to be made by what? Can this be made by plastic? No. It will broadly specify the material out of which this paper has to be made. It will specify the thickness. It will take one piece of this paper to its lab and test it for various qualities. And those qualities will be written in the standard itself. The qualities will be written in the standard. It will test it for that standard. It will say, yes, this paper is approved as per what is written in our standard. Standard means what? Standard means one like another, like another, like another, like another. Standard means like one type. It is standard means it is like the other product. Now, standard is opposite to innovation. Okay. Now, for example, I make a device which if I say like this, the PPT slide will go next slide. Okay. This is a new innovation. If I do like this, it will go. Now, is there a standard for this? if I invent a new device which the world has never seen, is there a standard for that? There is no standard for that. So when many people invent this device, they patent and all that, and the device becomes widely useful, then from the device itself, from the functionality of the device itself, the government will make system standard and product standard. What is system standard? System standard is like, for example, if you take a tube light. A tube light, how many tube lights should be put in one room to maintain one level of luminosity? That is system standard, means how the lighting system has to be erected. What is product standard? How to make the tube light or how the tube light itself should be. That is product standard. Got it? Suppose you have a fan. Okay, if you put one fan after the other, after the other, after the other, 15 fans are rotating for no use. Okay? Whereas if there is a system standard, how many fans are required in a 50 feet room? How many fans are required in a 20 feet room? That kind of an idea the system standard will give. How the fan itself should be. What should be the length of the blade? What should be the length of the central motor? How much voltage it should take? How much current it should take? Okay, all those aspects, how many regulating points should be there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, how many regulating points should be there, all this will be written in the product standard. But remember, when we were using hand fans and then there were no electrical fans, when the first electrical fan would have been invented, there would be no standard for it. It would be an innovation. Slowly, people find it very useful. Okay, many people start manufacturing it and then people buy it. Then the government feels a need to make a standard. To make a standard so that that business is regulated. Okay, so that people don't make something and sell it in the name of a fan. Okay, if I simply make something and dump it into the market and I sell it, after 10 days it goes bad. It should not happen like that. So they bring in some standardization. Okay, you got the idea? So now let us come to what is BIS. BIS is Bureau of Indian Standards. Bureau of Indian Standards. What it does, it is a Government of India organization which will say that a particular product manufactured by a particular company in a particular factory. Okay, so product, company, factory is approved and safe for use under such condition and meets the standards. So there is a product standard. Okay, there is a product standard and that my product is in alignment with that standard if I manufacture it under this company, under this factory. So BIS will approve the factory, the company and the product itself. Got it? This is what is BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. How does it approve? It will give you this stamp. This is the stamp it will give. This is called ISI, Indian Standards Institute, which is just another name for Bureau of Indian Standards. It will give you this stamp to be put on your product. This is the license that they will give. Just like the license of your two-wheeler or four-wheeler or your learner's license, where you go and you show your driving and the RTO gives you a license that you are capable of driving on Indian roads. Like that, for this particular product standard, your product is approved. So therefore you can use this mark in your product. If you use this mark means it is certified and approved by Bureau of Indian Standards. Got it? So we have discussed about system standards and product standards. System standard is how many products in how much distance should be put in a particular environment, and product standard is how that product itself should be. Okay. So Bureau of Indian Standards lays out the tests to be performed on a product, in approved labs. Now, when I say that this is my product, where do I give this product? I have to give this product to an approved lab. Okay, that lab which is capable of testing this product and telling me that this product is okay. Just like let us take the example of a blood test. Okay, if I give my blood sample, who will test it? It will have to be tested by a approved lab. So there they will test the blood and they will say, okay, this fellow has diabetes or this has this function, that function, whatever, hemoglobin, thyroid, etc., etc. Similarly, I have to give my product to somebody, and this product will be approved by a approved lab. Now, BIS also comes to the factory, and in the BIS standards, it is also written what tests to be done in the factory. Okay, it comes to the factory and sees whether those tests are done, and then it gives you this ISI mark. Okay, as a license. So this means that there are two types of tests. Okay, there are two types of tests. One test is called type test. This type test, and that is done on a sample. Okay, so I give out one sample from my manufacturing line. I give out one sample from my manufacturing line. That sample is taken to the lab and it is tested. That is called type test. So what test has to be done on that particular product is written by BIS and it is done in the lab. Then the second test is called regular test, that on every sample that is produced, on every piece that is produced, what are the tests you are going to do? It is very obvious that the type test will be much more elaborate than the regular test, right? On a particular sample, we will do all the tests, vibration test, EMI test, EMC test. EMI is electromagnetic interference, EMC test. Okay, all those kinds of tests we will do, high voltage test, low voltage test, etc., etc., etc. If that sample passes through all the shock tests and destructive tests and voltage test and current test and everything, and if I promise that I will use the same components of the same dimension, same manufacturer to produce more and more same pieces, then I don't have to do destruction test on every product. It is just like crash test on a car. So when the car is produced, one sample will be taken, one or two samples, it will go to a safety lab and then they will crash the car. And they will see how much impact happened, etc., etc., and they will certify it that this has got this rating. Does it mean that every manufactured sample will have to be crashed? No. So in that type test, they have seen what is the strength of the car, and they say if you use the same design, same steel, same everything, then that car is as strong as this car. So after we do the type test and it passes the type test, we tell the Bureau of Indian Standards that I have passed the type test. Now there are some basic minimum tests that we are doing in our factory, which is called regular test. That is visual inspection, basic functionality test. I give the voltage, whether that thing is working or not. Okay, whether some smoke detectors I connect, whether the panel is working or not. I do some kind of a minimum load test, and I make sure that whatever components and design I have used in the type test, the same component and design are used in manufacturing. So my manufacturing is more about adherence to the same components and same structure, rather than actually doing a physical destructive test on the component. Got it? So that is called regular test. Now when it comes to it, does BIS approve labs? Now when it came to UL has a system standard, UL has a product standard, UL also has its own lab. So it is a full monopoly. Whereas BIS is more like Indian government. So we have something called as National Accreditation Board for Testing Calibration Laboratories. Okay, there is called something called as NABL. This is called NABL. So BIS does not approve the labs. BIS is not a lab. It is just a standards organization. Try to understand this. It makes system standards and product standards. What tests are to be done is specified in the product standard of BIS. But BIS does not have a lab to test that. Okay. Now, NABL is just like your AICTE. AICTE approves all the engineering colleges of the country. So you run a college. If before you run a college, you have to go and take a license from AICTE. Similarly, to put up a lab for testing anything, you have to go to NABL and get their certificate. They will come and see whether the instruments that you're using, your expert engineers or doctors or whatever is required for, if it is a pathological lab, you will need a pathology MD specialist. Okay, if it is a lab for testing steel, then you will require those equipment which will test the steel. Okay, so you will need a metallurgist or a metal specialist or somebody, some engineer there. So it will lay down the condition and the instruments required to approve a lab. Okay, so we have, so BIS does not approve labs and BIS is not a lab. Okay, for that there is an organization called National Accreditation Board Limited. That is National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories. This is also a Government of India organization. This will approve the lab. Okay, so now let's come back. But NABL does not approve lab for complete products. For complete products means if I say I am manufacturing this speaker, for example. Hello, suppose I say I am manufacturing this speaker. Now this speaker will require so many tests to be done. Like there has to be test on the strength of plastics, there has to be EMI, EMC, there has to be test on the sound quality, whether the sound quality is so loud that somebody may become deaf or it is so low that somebody may not hear. If the speaker says here that it is approved for a distance of 4 meters, whether in 4 meters people will be able to hear properly or not, that BIS will test, that the lab will test. So many things have to be tested. The NABL will approve a lab for testing the sound, it will approve a lab for testing the property of the plastic, it will approve a lab for vibration testing, it will approve a lab for EMI testing, EMC testing, but it will not approve a lab that this one lab can do all the tests for a speaker. Got it? So inside a speaker, suppose you need to do 20 tests. It will approve those individual 20 tests. For example, EMI, EMC test is also required for a smoke detector. It will be also required for this infrared, pointer. It will also be required for a fan. It will also be required for a light. So it will say this lab is approved for EMI, EMC test. This lab is approved for high voltage test. This lab is approved for sound test. But inside a speaker, you will need EMI, EMC, sound and voltage. So that whether this lab can do all the tests will be approved by again BIS. It will not be approved by NABL. NABL will approve the lab for the particular tests. But whether that product can be approved by that lab as a whole, that will be decided by BIS. So let's take the example of a bicycle. A lab to test the quality, to approve quality of steel, quality of rubber for tires, quality of handles, washers, bearings will be approved by NABL. But it is again BIS which will approve that this one lab is approved to test a full bicycle. Got it? So some lab has to go to BIS and say, I have all the tests available in my laboratory to approve a bicycle. You please, and all these tests are approved by NABL. All the tests are approved by NABL. You please come and certify that now I can approve a cycle. That permission has to be given by BIS. Now why it is so complicated, that is left to anybody's interpretation. Okay. So let us come to Victofire. Okay. We have BIS product standards where all the functionality of that product has to follow is given. So we have a BIS standard for smoke detector. We have a BIS standard for fire alarm panel. We have a BIS standard for router. We have a BIS standard for MCP. We have a BIS standard for heat detector. So for each component of our system, we have a BIS standard. We also have IS 2189, BIS 2189, where all the system erection guideline is given. How many smoke detectors to be used? If there is one building, how many fire panels you should put? How many speakers you should put? How many routers you should put? In what distance you should place the smoke detector? So all these fire alarm products, how they have to be erected, that is given in the BIS 2189 system. This BIS product standard has been recently adopted. Earlier there was a system standard, but the product standard was not well defined. Now they have adopted all the product standard from an organization called ISO. ISO is International Standards Organization. It is not European standard, it is not American standard, it is one broad international body which is currently being adopted by 57 countries, 57. So India adopted the entire ISO standards as the standards for product. But this adoption is yet not reflected in IS 2189. Okay, that means the system standard is not still referring to this standard which has been adopted by BIS itself. Means there is some bureaucratic delay there. Okay. Now, we have labs approved by NABL where all the tests specified by the product standard of BIS, the BIS product standard, whatever tests have been specified, individual tests to be done on smoke detector, heat detector, fire alarm panel, router, MCP, all those tests, okay, we have labs to do those tests which are approved by NABL, okay. For our product, our Victor Fire, we have done all those tests by an NABL approved laboratory. All the tests specified by the product standards of BIS has been done and successfully done, and you people have the certificates. That lab is in Chandigarh. It's a very famous lab from Mohali, and it is approved by NABL for all the tests written in the product standard. All the tests. So means what? If BIS has specified 25 tests on a fire alarm panel, all those tests have been done by us. Okay, but till now, BIS has not told any lab in India that you are approved to certify a fire alarm panel. So suppose a fire alarm panel needs 25 tests. Okay, if in one lab all the 25 tests are available, this lab has to apply to BIS and say, I have all these 25 tests available. Okay, so you please approve me. Till now, no lab has approached BIS, and BIS also has not approved any lab. We have applied to BIS 4 times that please approve our product. They have given us a written reply that we don't have any labs. Okay, as of now. Now, why are the labs not going and getting their products approved? Because for them, even they have to pay some fees to BIS and get it approved. Now, if they get 10 or 20 or 30 manufacturers who are going to come to them and get their product BIS approved, then it makes financial sense for them. But in this case, what is happening? Manufacturing an addressable fire alarm is a very difficult process. Manufacturing a smoke detector is more difficult process. We have done both of them, and we are the first in India to do it. So even if one lab gets it approved, they will only get business from us, and that too one-time business. After that, what? And there if they say, I am going to charge you 1 crore, will we pay? So it is a matter of economics. One side it is a matter of economics. Another side, inside the Bureau of Indian Standards Committee, all these people from UL and EN54 and foreign companies are sitting. They are preventing BIS from taking up this thing so that their business keeps going on. Okay, the day one BIS approved product comes to India, you cannot buy UL approved, EN54 approved. Because when you have a product certified by India for Indian usage by Indian standards, how you can buy a foreign product? So then all these notifiers and Siemens and Honeywells and Bosch will have to again get it recertified by India, BIS. That is a, so we say, Modi says you buy Swadeshi, Gideshi and all, but indirectly this is how they are controlling. The foreign parties are controlling, foreign countries are controlling our system. So as far as we are concerned, whatever the test was specified, okay, whatever test was specified, we have got it done from NABL certified authority. Okay, NABL only certifies the test for your kidney, liver, everything, pathology labs, drinking water, everything is certified by NABL. So as far as technical and technology is concerned, there is nothing further. Whatever is pending is only documentation. BAS has to say, yes, this lab is certified. There is no certification process. They have to give this thing, they have to pay the fees. And BAS has to say that is certified. But the moment that documentation happens, there will be huge business realignment which will be not in favor of foreign powers. And that is why that is being prevented from happening. So we can confidently, heads held high, we can say we have done all the tests. Our product meets all the standards. And that has been certified by NABL certified lab. There is no higher test than this. After that, we are only not stamped. So we have to say that we are BIS approved, but not just stamped. Now this not just stamped also, if you can avoid saying this and get it as a part of the debate, you say no sir, BIS approved. How are you saying that? Sir, NABL certifies the labs. We have got certificate from NABL for all the standards laid down by BIS. So you have to take from Vasudha madam the BIS product standard, and in that product standard all the tests are written in one space. You have to show those tests. You have to show those tests that this 7240 or something is the number. BIS 7240, which is for fire alarm panel, has mentioned these 10 tests. You can see that these 10 tests are done by the NABL approved laboratory, and you have to show the certificates. Okay, then if he asks that where is your ISI stamp, at that time you say stamping has not yet happened because of problem from BIS side. They don't want to approve it due to reasons unknown to us. But as far as our product is concerned, all the tests specified by BIS in their product standard has been done by NABL approved laboratory. That is it. If you can close the discussion at that, in the tender specification, if you ask the consultant to write certified for all the tests written in IS 7240 by NABL certified laboratory, it is good. That is enough. There is no need for ISI stamping, because ISI stamping and all will happen when there are 20 manufacturers, 30 manufacturers. Till that time, what you will do? Till that time, you will go to NABL and get your product certified based on BIS standard. So, if you don't bring up this BIS stamping angle at all, it is better. You say we are BIS approved, because we are BIS approved as far as facts are concerned. Okay, all the tests written in the product standards have been done by BIS NABL approved laboratory. Only that the stamping, the licensing has not happened. Okay, so a good salesman will avoid that stamping aspect. He will take out IS 7240. It is available free on the internet. 7240 you take out, in that you read the test sections. In the test section, the names are given: electromagnetic test, static test, vibration test, high voltage test, EMI test. All those same names you show in the certificate of the Mohali lab. That same name, same test, in that you show that NABL logo. Okay, you show NABL approved lab, same test written in IS, same test done by us. All the tests are done successfully. On top of that, we have been approved by IIT Roorkee. IIT Roorkee is the apex body in India for civil construction approval. Any item that goes into civil infrastructure, is approved by IIT Roorkee. On top of that, we are approved by BHEL. On top of that, we are approved by National Hydroelectric Power Corporation. On top of that, we are approved by so many builders, so many across India we have done projects. On top of that, nobody except the fire officer has the jurisdiction to approve a product. Okay, UL is not an Indian company. It has nothing to do with India. EN54 is not an Indian approval. It has nothing to do with India. Tomorrow, if one product doesn't work, you cannot call UL fellow and put him behind bar. If one building doesn't work, okay, it is the fire officer who has given NOC. NOC means no objection to occupation. It is called occupancy certificate, that this building is safe for occupying by residents, and I have tested it and I am certifying that. This authority only fire officer has. And as per the government of India, the fire officer cannot specify UL or EN54. He has to, in his NOC, he has to only write fire alarm system BIS approved stroke equivalent. He cannot specify a foreign standard. He has to write BIS approved stroke equivalent. So ours is equivalent. It is BIS approved because NABL lab is permitted by BIS. But if you are looking for that Nishani, that stamp ISI, then we are equivalent. So this much of discussion you have to engage in. UL EN54 approval, अरे हमारे पास नहीं है. That is not the way to come out of a sales call. You get my point? Now this has been recorded in a video. Whatever I have told now, at least you will have to see 3 to 4 times. And then you have to do your own research in internet to be able to present this well. One thing which I did not cover in this presentation is that chart. The chart in which the fire alarm panel tests are specified by the product standard. Against that, we have done all the tests. You have to prepare a chart and then go. That has to be included in the marketing kit. Without that, don't go to Hyderabad. Okay, because this is called objection handling. When somebody raises an objection that you don't have approval, how you tackle it? If I go and sit and tackle, they will not ask for UL approval because of my strength of knowledge. And they will ask you UL approval because you are not able to explain all this. So now that I have given you a broad background, okay, you read this, you see this video again and again, and then do your own research on internet, prepare your mind thoroughly, that all the tests specified by the Bureau of Indian Standards have been done by us in an NABL approved laboratory. All the tests specified by BIS for regular factory production is being done by us in our factory. Okay, so therefore our product is BIS approved. Only stamping has not happened. So even that saying that only stamping has not happened, you should avoid. If they ask you, oh, you don't have a stamp, at that time you say that is a bureaucratic process. Only if there are 20, 30 manufacturers, some lab will find any merit to set up this thing and give the stamping. Okay, it's an economic issue, it is a matter of bureaucracy, but technically whatever tests are specified have been done. So we definitely come under BIS equivalent. Okay, our competitors like Notifier, Siemens, Bosch, they don't come under BIS equivalent because they have not done any of the tests in India by NABL certified laboratory for the standard specified by BIS. They have done UL. We don't know whether UL and BIS are same. They cannot be same. Okay, so they are not even equivalent. We are equivalent at least. First you should say we are BIS approved. Then if it comes into detail, at least sir you can accept we are equivalent. So therefore we qualify for the tender. Got it? So what mistake you people are doing is that you are going and starting with, no, we don't have BIS approval, our BIS approval is pending, we are doing the documentation. No. Why should you start on a defeatist note? Why should you start on a back foot? Don't start on a back foot. You explain all this and go to the front foot. Then let him understand how qualified our company is, that how even more than the BAS people sitting there. We understand electronics. For 10 years our product has been working in the field. What more is required? Plus NABL certified lab has approved it. The BHEL, NHPC, IIT Roorkee and so many other agencies have approved it. The local fire officers are certifying the product. The local fire officer is the only main jurisdiction of India. He is certifying the product. Whether it is Noida, whether it is Pune, whether it is Bangalore, whether it is Tamil Nadu. We have certifications from all these places. Because we have put our product, no building has failed to get the NOC. They have got the NOC. People are staying in Century, people are staying in Tulip, people are staying in Gore, people are staying in Cloud9. Fire officers are not saying we will not accept Victor Fire. They can't say that. Okay? So you have to tackle this particular aspect in great depth. Otherwise, all the effort that you do, if you don't handle this aspect properly, then that effort will go waste. Okay, with this I conclude, but I recommend you to do further research and create that chart. Okay?